Sales is hard. Between the constant rejection, the aggressively high sales quotas, and the pressure to stay at the top of your game, it's no wonder why so many salespeople burn out. Staying motivated in sales isn't just possible. I believe it's a skill that can be worked on and improved over time. So I want to share practical tips that I have learned based on firsthand experience for how I attempt to stay fired up working in sales, even on the toughest of days. Beginning with why it's hard to sustain motivation in sales is because it really is an emotional roller coaster. Some days can be going so well, all your cold calls are going well, people are buying, the demos are receptive, they love it, and then literally later that afternoon, you're faced with constant rejection and pushback. The biggest deal goes with your competitor. Your manager says, you got to turn around your performance. We're putting you on a performance plan. It literally is ups and downs. So staying even keeled, never high, too low is really, really important. But I also think not defining our sense of self-worth by these external validation measures. So for example, I hit quota my first 7 for 7 quarters in my first software sales job, and I felt like I was the man because I said, I'm hitting quota, I'm making money, I feel good, I'm getting recognized. And then as soon as I missed quota that 8th quarter, all of a sudden I questioned myself and I said, wait, am I not so good anymore? Am I not special? Am I not important? Do I not belong? And you really start to have these negative thought patterns. So I want to reshape where we find motivation from and look at it from the inside out. And I'm going to share exactly how I go about trying to do that. I'm not perfect, but I do think I've shifted my definition of what success and self-worth looks like by defining intrinsic motivation and framing all of my action from a place of unconditional self-love and acceptance so that I can show up as my best self. My actions carry greater potency, intentionality, and I'm an overall more effective sales rep. So what are some daily habits that you can start implementing today to stay motivated and find lasting purpose from the inside out? Number one is writing down your goals each and every morning. I have a legal pad next to me, and I always start by writing down my goals, not just my sales goals. It's important to write down, you're going to hit quota. What is your quota? How much money do you plan to make? What do you got to do to get there? And define your career aspirations, but also write down your health goals. Write down your personal relationship goals. Write down your spiritual goals. What are you focused on in life? Because when you find success in your career and you're making money, why is that important? How is that going to expand what you are trying to achieve as an individual on this earth? In addition to writing down your goals, I think it's so important to also practice the celebration of small wins. Towards the end of Q4, I closed a monumental deal. I was so pumped up about it that I literally just shut my laptop and then went on a walk. And I said, you know what? I deserve 30 minutes away. I'm going to go take a walk and just bask in this excitement of closing the deal. I'm not getting too high, but I'm feeling a sense of gratitude and intentionality that I worked hard on this and I deserve to take a step back and celebrate this small win. The final habit is to be proactive and focus on what's in your control. This is why in the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, the very first chapter is be proactive. It talks about stimulus and response. Things happen to you, oftentimes out of your control, but you can control how you respond to any given set of circumstances or any situation. You can have the best cold call script. You can call the right person at the right time with the right message, execute it perfectly, and they can still say no and hang up on you because you can't control how they respond. But fortunately, you can control how you respond to that situation. So by assuming responsibility, we can take back control in our lives. Next, I want to talk about some mindset shifts for sustaining lasting motivation. And the first one is reframing rejection. I believe sales is a contact sport. We are paid to be told no. Of course, each no gets us closer to a yes, but I view rejection as a learning experience. If the other party does not agree to my idea, if they do not comply with my request, that means I have potentially done something wrong, and it presents an opportunity for me to learn, grow, get better, and find another counterparty who is more receptive to my messaging and ultimately be better off because of the rejection. And I think that this is so important because rejection is inevitable, so we got to get used to it and learn from it. Next is to attempt to detach from the immediate results. So even if we don't necessarily achieve tangible outcomes in a certain day, like setting meetings, having live conversations, generating new pipeline through open opportunities, winning deals, these are the outcomes that matter. We can obsess over the inputs. It doesn't necessarily matter if we see success. What matters is the process and constantly refining the system and getting better. This is so important, is to obsess over the process and to emotionally detach from the results. And then finally is to surround yourself with positivity. If you find yourself constantly complaining or in a reactive state about, oh, they changed the territory rules, oh, my book of business is different, no one wants to hear the excuses. No one wants to hear the complaints. So go find other like-minded, driven people that you can laugh about the rejection with, that you can grow with, that you can find shared accountability. And this just makes it so much more fun and reinforces the motivation to keep going. Lastly, I want to talk about practical tips for tough days. Take breaks when needed. I'm someone who's a grinder and I'm always staring at my screen, but sometimes I just got to shut the laptop, go sit outside in the sun, and there's nothing wrong with this. We don't need to make it seem like we can't take breaks. So I think sometimes take some breaks, do what you got to do. We're not wired to work for like 15 hours straight, no matter what the media or these corporate grinders make it seem like. Next, learn from tough days. This is why writing down your goals is so important. This is why having the legal pad at the pen next to you, because if something happens, good or bad, or you get an insight, write it down so you can go back and review your notes. And by writing it down, I think it helps you process information faster. So on the days where I feel like I don't have the best day, where I don't focus on the inputs, I'll write down, hey, today wasn't your best day. You did not win the day. And that means you're going to go even harder tomorrow. And that's just the way it is. Not every day is a 10 out of 10, but we can learn from those challenging days and figure out, well, how can we have less of those tough days? And then finally, create a post-rejection ritual. So when I have a cold call that goes really bad, in the past, maybe because my ego, I would go on LinkedIn and send him a note and be like, I hope everything's okay. And this would end up just backfiring. So now when something happens, I kind of just laugh it off. And I think my ritual is exercise. I do strenuous physical activity to help process all of the crap that happens during the day. And it just makes me feel better. And I feel like I'm able to sustain my motivation because I'm exerting my body physically, and that just keeps my mind in a good place. So in today's video, we talked about why it's hard to sustain motivation, habits that you can start implementing, and practical tips that you can use on the most challenging of days. And if you found value in today's video, hit the thumbs up button now, because it really helps the channel and it will help other like-minded driven sales professionals get access to this information. Subscribe to this channel if you're interested in sales content like this, and I'll talk to you in the next video.